Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Golden Empire Productions or Hunter here, back with another video. In this video I got my bearded dragon here. Kind of stressed out, not too sure why. So in this video I'm going to go over important things that you need to know before you get a reptile. So I've had plenty of reptiles in the past. I've had anywhere from corn snakes to king snakes to boas to bearded dragons to iguanas. I've had a lot of reptiles over the years and I should know a little bit of what I'm talking about. This is from my experience. This is not necessarily some big reptile breeder's point of view. This is from mine. So this may not work for everybody, but it works for the reptiles that I've had. I've been working a lot with especially this little guy, mainly because he is my main reptile at this time. So let's get into this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let's try to go for, I don't know, 15 likes. You guys are like killing my channel right now, guys. It's so insane. I've got like 815 or something subscribers right now. Let's keep that good work up, guys. I'm getting like 5 subscribers a day, 3 to 5, whatever. Boring! I don't know, I'm getting a lot of subscribers, so if you guys continue to like my videos, give me a thumbs up and even subscribe if you want to. Alright, let's get into this video. So the first thing that you want to have is time. Time is a very important aspect to your reptile's health. Depending on your reptile, you're going to want to spend at least an hour a day with it. At least an hour a day. I personally like to spend around 2 to 3 hours a day with my reptiles. Although I know some days that is just a little bit too difficult, it still is probably the best time to do it. Now remember, you can overdo handle time, so let's try to keep it below 3.5 hours. You definitely do want to spend a lot of time holding and handling your animal and showing it certain things that you want it to learn later down the road. So as far as my bearded dragon, I spend an hour and a half to 2 hours a day with it. I spend quite a lot of time with my bearded dragon, and it's now learned that I'm not here to hurt it, and it wants to be my friend, I think, maybe, I don't know. It is important to spend a lot of time with these animals, and you are going to be spending, hopefully, quite a lot of time with them. Make sure you have the time to do this. If not, then maybe you should think about an animal or reptile that requires a smaller amount of care time. So the next tip I can give you guys is maintenance. Maintenance is a very important aspect to keeping your reptile healthy and clean. So a lot of people know that reptiles can be potentially stinky and they don't necessarily always smell good. Now that is not true, because if you care, particularly for the enclosure, but if you care for your reptile enough, then it won't stink. The only thing that stinks about a reptile usually is their musk or feces. So all you have to do is clean up their feces and make sure that they don't musk on you. Again, some of this plays back in time, but this isn't actually handle time. This is actually enclosure maintenance time. So make sure you clean up their cage and they won't stink. I can sit here forever and smell Pedro and he won't stink. Ever, but his enclosure will if you don't clean up the feces in time. Another thing, if you have an herbivore, they tend to have less smelly poops rather than a carnivore, which might have more odorous poops. So that's another tip. Okay, that should be all of maintenance. So now we're gonna move on to the next part of maintenance, is the enclosure. The enclosure is a very important part of your reptile's health. It is probably the actual most important. A lot of people, when they see these cool reptiles, they're just like, oh, I can get it, but they don't realize how much the enclosure and the proper setup can cost. For example, bearded dragons tend to cost a whole lot less than, let's say, a green iguana. I'd say for my bearded dragon, I spent around $175 for the right enclosure, lights and stuff. But I did already have the cage for him, which could also mean another $200. So it does vary. It depends on what stuff you have. I think I spent around $700 for my green iguana, and it wasn't even full size yet. So I'm assuming it was only more from there. Green iguanas are very expensive. They also consume a lot of time. You have to spend like 3 hours a day on them as well. So they're very needy animals. So as far as enclosure, you definitely do want to get the proper lights, the proper cage setup, the proper decorations, and other useful necessities such as reptile hammocks, the right stuff that they need. You definitely do want to do your research before doing this, because a lot of people just think that they can get a bag of sand from Lowe's or something and put it in their bearded dragon's cage and expect them to survive, which, side note, they won't. Whether it has immediate effects or not, it still will affect them later down the road. You definitely do have to get them the right lights or they won't sustain, I guess. The lights are what they bask in. The lights are actually the cheapest part of this, so make sure you get them the right lights. As far as reptile hammocks and other things, they don't necessarily need them, but it is useful for them to have them. They do need a place to bask and a place to just chill out, so if you want to give them one of those, they're like $5. You can get them off Amazon for even cheaper, I'm sure. And yeah, those are pretty simple. You should get them. They're going to need a UVA and a UVB bulb depending on what kind of reptile you have. Lizards typically have a UVA, UVB, but snakes usually just carry a UVA. So you can just take what you want from there, but UVB bulbs can be pretty expensive, but they are still relatively cheap. For a bearded dragon, you're going to tend to want a bigger UVB bulb. What are you doing? For bearded dragons, you are going to want a bigger UVB bulb, preferably a 24-inch strip light for UVB, but UVA, you can just get a basking bulb like a 75 watt. So that's always good, but they do need the right lights, so make sure you get them the right lights. Sorry, I'm like backtracking. They're going to need a food and water dish as well as any other decorations that you want to get them. Oh my god, how did I not mention this? They also need the right size tank. Again, do your research to see what you need. Usually bearded dragons do best in a 40 to 50 gallon, but they can go up to, I don't know, a 75 gallon or even a 100 gallon. But a 40 to 50 gallon is probably the best, so stick within that range. A green iguana can be a very big species, so make sure you get them the right size cage or it might stunt their growth. Oh my gosh, Pedro's just on a mission. I think that's all of the enclosure part. I don't think there's anything else to mention as far as that goes. Just do your research, honestly, with their enclosure and see what works best for you. Okay guys, so the next tip I have for you guys is food. You're going to want to get them the right food. Of course, that sounds stupid, I know. But a lot of people think that they can just get their bearded dragons and other reptiles, maybe crickets or mealworms or superworms or greens or whatever. And although that is correct, you do need more than that. As a staple, dubia roaches are the best for carnivores and collard greens are the best for herbivores. Now, for example, bearded dragons are going to need both, so you're just going to have to pick and choose certain meals to feed them. You are also going to want to get calcium. Whether it be powder calcium or liquid calcium, you are going to need calcium. Calcium is very important to have. As most reptile owners know, reptiles can get this disease called metabolic bone disease very, very quickly, and it can be very harmful and potentially deadly. They get it in their bones, especially in their arms and legs, that make them very weak and fragile. In some cases, metabolic bone disease is treatable and you can go to a local vet and let them see, but in some cases it's not, so make sure you just take the extra step and go ahead and give them calcium. Another tip, don't buy store-bought food, especially like pet store food. It's just not good for them. So an example of what you should not get is this. This is not that good for them. I'm sure that they can eat these on top of a salad, but a lot of people just think that they can fill their bowls up with this and just have them eat that for the rest of their life. That is not good. And I know it can be tempting to buy these. They're little like cubes or chunks of food that have very good things in them for bearded dragons. This stuff is not necessarily bad for them, but it's just not good for them. That's the only way I know how to put it. It's better if you just get dubia roaches and collard greens. That's just the easiest stuff to get. Plus, this stuff can be very costly. I'm pretty sure I got this for around $13, and it's maybe enough food for a week. Maybe two. But this is also for, I'm assuming, juvenile bearded dragons. So just make sure, if you do get this stuff, that you know what you're doing. Feed it with the stuff that you're already going to feed him. For example, roaches, crickets, mealworms, superworms. and colored greens. Now this is a video not just for bearded dragons, but also all reptiles. So again, if you see some snake food or some snake this or that, just assume that it's bad. Go home and do your research and see what the healthiest alternative is. Same with any other type of lizard, green iguana, leopard gecko, crested gecko. There's healthier options, I'm sure. You just have to find the right one. That being said, your reptile may not like that. For example, if your reptile does not like colored greens, maybe try mustard greens. Maybe put some stuff over the greens to make them more enticing to your reptile. Just give that a try, and if it doesn't work, contact me personally and I can help you. Okay guys, so moving on to the last and final step, it is research. Research is pretty self-explanatory. I've mentioned it in previous steps. Just take some time before you get your reptile of choice to know what you're getting into. You want to know everything that you need to get before you house your reptiles. Just research every little thing that you can and make sure that you have the best that it can get. And if you can't get the best, maybe you should think of a cheaper reptile. Think about your surroundings and think about the size of your room or the space that you're putting it in. If you don't have the space for a big reptile, then go for a smaller one. Research all of your possibilities before you settle on one. If this is your first reptile, try to get one that doesn't require a lot of space and one that doesn't require a lot of maintenance. A good example of this would be some sort of an anole or other gecko. Now remember, these are living souls and they probably will be doing better in someone else's care, so make sure you can give them the best that you can, or just don't get one at all. I'm not a reptile Nazi, and I don't think that everybody who can't give the best of the best should not be able to have a reptile, but I do think you should at least give them as best as you can give them, and if it's not the required supplies, then don't get one. Or switch to a different species. You can find sites all over that talks about stuff like this. So I will link sites below to see what type of reptile you should get. Just be smart and don't overdo it, and just be happy. Make you and your reptile happy. There's no reason to get a reptile that you can't house and then have to sell it or get rid of it later down the road. Also, make sure to check to see the laws of this type of reptile that you're getting before you get it. You might also have to get your setup checked by the state to see if you're eligible to have such reptile. So make sure you view all the laws, all the precautions, and everything that you can get online. And if you have any questions about any reptile, really, I'm pretty much all there. Just leave it in the comment section below, and I will let you know what I can do. And if you don't have the time to research, I will try to do my best for you. So just go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'm sure I can help you out. Make sure you guys leave a like if you liked, and if this helped you, go ahead and leave a like. If it didn't help you, don't dislike. Okay, you can dislike, you can do what you want. But please leave why it didn't help you, at least. And let me help you before you just go on a hate tantrum and explain why you hate me so much. I might be able to calm some of this down before you start going on some weird tantrum. I also might be able to help you, and I hope this video wasn't too long. So, see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye. Watch these videos below. So, we're here now. Here's my channel. Here's my videos. Watch what you want. Do what you want. You think I care? I don't. I don't care. Okay, maybe I do. Bye now.